52 cars, and Jonathan, I'm going to give it over to you for the start. This is a lot of cars.
Well, it's Audi versus Audi at the front with a host of Porsches and Ferraris right behind. Can they hold off the chasing pack, the R8s of Juan Lopez Santini and Geronimo Guzman? Well, in the words of Geronimo, let's get underway. Here we go. Sebring Speed Tour 2023 underway, and green flag waves. A wonderful shot there of a massive field of over 50 cars as they sprint into turn one, and a good clean start.
Another great, good, clean start, like you said there. Really great to see them as they come into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 3. It looks like Juan Lopez Santini doesn't have his tires up to temperature. I saw him twitch there like we were talking about. There's 18 different tire patch surfaces here at Sebring International Raceway, and with cold tires it's going to be tough to go through as they go through this long turn 6 into the Bridge Hall Bennett section here at turn 7. Jonathan, what a sight.
Yeah, and already the Audi's starting to pull away as we go into the tight turn 7, and the Porsches have got their work cut out. And everybody jostling for position. These opening laps, Ben, are going to be so crucial, because what you don't want to do is get bogged down in slower traffic. You want to get some clean air as soon as possible with a massive field like that, as that Brumos Porsche in the number 58 just going through shot coming out of 7.
Yeah, what you're seeing there, it's so hard to get these to rotate. But here's the start of the Stuttgart Cup, Jonathan. Take it over. Yep,
here we go. And again, spreading out. 2 split grids, remember. This is 31 through 52, and away they go. A good start from the 113 of Russell Whitberg, and again everybody jostling for position through. Nicely goes the 14, and another good clean start. And as you can see, nice and split between the two groups. The first group now heading towards turn 17, and the first group heading through the Big Machine Spike Coolers turn 3.
And the reason the camera is so blurry, it is hot here.
Yeah.
And that's about 3/4 of a mile, that this long zoom that we're getting from the green light camera people here as they come around Mission Foods turn 17. Juan Lopez Santini, Geronimo Guzman, Tom Pank, Stephen Hammond, and David Tuwadi coming right through there. There's Nathan Bird.
Tell you what, Tom Pank and Hammond need to get the hurry up on. They do not want to lose too much ground on those Audis early on, and if you look at the qualifying times, they were so much quicker, and it's going to be a real task if they don't get safety cars or there's some sort of situation that brings this field back together again.
Unbelievable. We're seeing some talent here from Nathan Bird like we saw all last year. I'm getting some comments here. Jose Ufe is saying, let's go Marcus Ventos. He's got three fire emojis, so I hope those are positive fire emojis.
Oh yeah.
You know, you don't want to jinx them there.
No,
Jose.
we're fired up. Let's fire up emojis.
I love it. So leave us some comments here if you're watching. Where are you watching from? And look at these two teammates here.
I know,
Great
Linus
sight.
Stern. This is a real exhibition already by these two R8s. You know, back in the day when Audi brought this car out, they were such the mark, and everybody said, you know what, they finally got it just right, the right combination. You know, it was always hard to chase down the Ferrari 488 or the Porsche 911, but Audi came out with this R8 LMS at GT3 car, and from there on in, it just dominated both the world scene, IMSA, you name it, and it's just a great little car.
It really is, and it was really cool to see those shots from Geronimo Guzman. Go tequila car, camera car, as they go through the OMP section there. Look at this, we're back on board the Blackbird Modern Asian. Go Tequila and Cooking with My Doctor. ARC Racing Team, these two gentlemen used to be harsh rivals, and then they said, well, let's start a racing team together, bought almost identical cars, and are out there just having a blast. I'm not sure if there's anybody other than maybe Tom Pank or Mark Sandridge having more fun than these two right here as they come into Mission Foods turn 17. What a sight to see.
James Hammond, remember the two Hammonds involved in this, so you've got one in 4th and one in 13th position at the moment.
Stephen Hammond giving it to Tom Pank as we see Reg Williams behind David Tuwadi there. And a long field coming up into that Mission Foods turn 17. As Tom Pank goes a little bit wide, Stephen Hammond a little bit wider. If he can get that little draft behind Pank, let's see what he's got. We talked to him at the grid and see if he's got anything for Pank.
Yeah, this is good racing between these two, and they've raced each other for many a year in this IGT Championship. Got a great illustration of the bumps here at Sebring. So easy to unsettle the car, especially going into a braking zone. And one coming up, of course, at turn 7 by the hotel. But that's the nature of this Sebring circuit, so famous by the 12 Hours, of course, coming up in March.
And these two, you could have thrown a blanket over them this whole season so far. So if you're watching this, please tell us, who are you rooting for? What cars are your favorites? So great to have you here. Oh, my friend Mark Dill has joined us from Cary, North Carolina. Welcome, Mark Dill, Racer Magazine, great columnist there. As we look at this, is turn 10. You know, you don't see a lot of passing there, but if you remember TA2 a couple years ago, Thomas Merrill and Mike Skeen seemed to make it happen. And Juan Lopez Santini is just hitting all of his marks here. Unbelievable driving. He's already coming up onto lap traffic.
Well, you mentioned those two. They'll be back in action, both of them, for Trans Am TA2 later today. So watch out for two of the great experts of the Sebring circuit on track later today.
So if I told you somebody was watching with the name Dubstep Kush,
I'd have no idea.
Obviously, what country would you say that they're from?
Dubstep Kush. Sounds like an IBCN.
Yeah.
Jamaica.
Oh, Jamaica, man. Welcome from Jamaica. We've got Germany, New York, and there's lots of German cars out there. So Germany's pretty happy here. And we've got Chicago and Michigan and Daytona Beach. Thanks so much for joining us. And if you want to yell at the commentators, this is your chance. Please tell us what we're getting wrong. And if you have some insight for these cars or drivers, please inform us. The more information, the better. And there's David Tuati trying to keep Reg Williams right behind him.
Yeah, look at the gap they've pulled away. There's some Hammond and Tuati, some 8 seconds, off Guzman and Santini, who are pulling away at the front. Officially 6.9, but it's gone up now. It has 8.7 now. The gap, as you see there on your graphic on the top left. After 3 laps of 10, we're now on the 4th of 10 laps.
Look at how close they're running. Like you said, I like what you pointed out, the bumps here. That was Hendricks Airfield there that we were just on, where all the B-17s go into the European theater in World War II. Saved your British butts. And that was their airport. That was their runway. And then they made that into Sebring, and that's just so cool.
And we thank you for saving our British butts.
Yeah. See, and we're talking here now in English.
There we go. Yes.
Sorry, Germany. And here they come, David Tuati into the Bridge Hall Bennett turn 7 with Reg Williams right behind him. Reg Williams, a really good driver. This corner is basically designed to destroy cars. It is so hard to get onto the brakes and get the car to rotate there. And these GT3 Cup cars, if you can get it to rotate there, you can get about 2 to 3 tenths of a second advantage on somebody that can't quite find that rotation.
You know, one factor that's going to happen here, such are the speed of the leaders. They're already starting to get into traffic now. And they've really got to, this is going to be a crucial time for these two Audis out front. They've got to race each other, but they've also got to be aware of how they kind of pick their spots to make overtakes, to use their strategy, and to make sure that people see them. And that if they're going to do something, they do it decisively.
Yeah, exactly right. And it is like they said on the grid, they have so much fun. There's so much camaraderie. But this group is so competitive. And I got to give a shot. We just got the first shot that I've seen of the new paving there around the flagpole. Every year we come to Sebring, they make improvements. And I got to give it up for Wayne and his team. Sebring is always at the top of the list for our drivers as Stephen Hammond comes up right behind Tom Pank.
Yeah, Hammond's been right there, hasn't he? But hasn't made a move yet. Maybe he's just biding his time when we get to the halfway point. They come out of the last corner here. And you can see that Hammond definitely looks, by the body language of the car and how wide he went there, as though he might be making a move. Could be here at turn 1. Is this the time for Hammond? Whoa! Ho, ho. Well, he thought about it, didn't he?
Yeah, and I got to say, Thomas Pank, you know, he's one of our great drivers. Second, he will give you an inch, but he will not give you an inch and a half.
Right. Good racing already in this one. But the gap now to this battle between Pank and Hammond up to 13 seconds now. The Audi's killing it at the moment.
I'm getting some complaints from Flying Arts, vintage cars, question marks. Now the vintage cars are coming up next in SVRA. This is International GT. As Stephen Hammond looks inside, we've got people joining us from Sri Lanka. More Marcus Ventos fans. William Curlier is helping everybody out, telling them they can watch the live timing and scoring on Race Monitor. But so much fun here, and how these Cup cars...
Here he comes.
Yeah, keep going, Jonathan, sorry.
I was about to say, here they come into 13. Oh, he thought about it again. Pank still defending very well in the back end of the circuit, but the drone just gave us a great illustration of this battle as one car slowing down there. Looks as though he's actually just letting traffic pass. But that battle is heating up nicely. Pank and Hamann, we saw it from above a moment ago.
See that Stuttgart car just trying to find a break in the fence that he can get behind. We really appreciate that. David Tuati and Reg Williams, if he can get behind that orange barrier there, that was so nice of him to do that. We really appreciate that. That means we can stay full course green, and that's what we want, isn't it, Jonathan?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's the big fear for those out front, is that they don't want a caution to basically crunch everything up together again. Over 50 cars, remember, so even though Sebring is a pretty long circuit, it soon gets tight with that many cars out here. Over the halfway point now, 6 of the 10 gone.
And what a great way to start. 52 cars taking the green flag. We've been green flagged this whole time as we see Tom Pank now making a gap. Now that they're coming up to this lap traffic, they've got to really calculate where they're going to make these passes as they go over the Respect the Bumps of Sebring International Raceway. And look at the fans on that new bleacher section. Like we were saying, constantly making improvements here. So Wayne and his team, unbelievable here at Sebring International Raceway.
Yeah, I'm also looking out of the commentary booth and seeing the cars and coffee display going on, and everybody getting amongst beautiful historic cars. If our YouTube fans were worried, we got plenty of historic cars coming your way.
Yeah, if you like cars, you're going to love watching this weekend. We're going to have something here for you as we've got this combination of Stuttgart cars coming in. David Tuati on the inside, giving it to one of them, and then the RS1 car has to stop at the back. And a lot of this, sometimes these cars like this can use that as a pick and roll on some of their competitions. And it's really fun to see that happening here. Lots of Marcus Ventos fans joining us here live, and elbows out Tom Panks from Spike, and Tom Panks' elbows are always out.
Well, Marcus Vento is currently in 10th position, chasing down Scott Blind, and Juan Fea in 8th position. In 7th near pole, then Reg Williams still 6th, and then this battle between Tuati, Hamann, and Pank, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. But now it's starting to get a little bit more serious, because everybody now is dealing with overtaking at pretty much 3 or 4 times a lap, and that really does absolutely get the mind. This is more like the 12 hours now, where you're always in traffic, you're always doing an overtake, trying to look at the mirrors, but also trying to go forward. Back with the Audis now, back on board with Guzman.
Look at how close he got to the wall there at Mission Foods 17, and now there's a little bit of a gap here. Juan Lopez Santini and Geronimo Guzman. And look at these beautiful cars. So happy to have them back. I kept up with them at the Classic 24 at Daytona, and look at him hitting all of his marks as he comes through Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 3 in a really scary part. They're trying to set up the speed, late apex here through the tunnel, and we have Ken Fangler joining us. Ken Fangler, happy 10-year anniversary. This has got to feel good.
Yeah, I was happy with my first 10-year anniversary at home, and I'm happy with this one also.
So, Ken, we had a question here, and I couldn't figure it out. Michael Ryder's asking us, what's the difference between these cars and the IMSA GTD cars?
Well, I'm not the technical person. As you can tell, I'm a marketing guy. Okay, but there is, we have cars that come from all different other sanctioning bodies. So we've had current GTD cars. There's not that much difference. Sometimes in a GTD, they're restricted or dumbed down a little bit, so we may or may not allow that. The thing when the cars, they come to us, they have to declare what sanctioning body and rule they fit to, so we can kind of categorize them or make an adjustment. I mean, we have more guidelines than we have rules, so to speak. But
and that's something we need to clear up, because I've got 68 TOS is asking, and there is no balanced BOP with you guys. You have different classes, and that makes it really fun, because none of these cars are restricted like they are in some of the other classes. It's just races within a race, which makes for some really fun racing, but also still very close racing.
Well, we actually, Ben, I think about it, and we do have a BOP. it's called driver talent and ability. Okay, that's where the balance comes in, and you see that. That's honestly, that's throughout sports car racing. You know, no matter if it's a professional, and we don't claim to be professional. Our mantra is sportsman racing on a professional platform, but the racing is sportsman racing, and you know, as I said, the abilities between the different drivers is varying, just like it is in all series.
And we've got some great comments. Our friend John McCormick. John, sorry you're not here this weekend, but great that you've joined us. I love it. We've got Cannon Beach, Oregon. We've got Sri Lanka visiting us. So it truly is International GT. Germany, I've already roasted Germany. I'm sure that I've made some Porsche Audi fans mad.
You heard Derrick's comments last night.
We
he insulted every European nation. Yeah, there was nobody who was,
And what's your affiliation with Derrick Bell? Because how special is that?
Well, it's been a friendship of more than 40 years. And we met at a race in California through a mutual friend in 1983. And we had dinner together through this mutual friend, and we started talking, and Derrick at that time was not that enthusiastic about the gray, dismal England winters, and I said, well, come to Florida. And so he actually took me up on the offer, and of course that was in '83 when the Miami Grand Prix was starting, West Palm was on, IMSA was on a roll, and with, I think there was 4 or 5 Florida races, with 2 Daytona races that year. So Florida was a good place to be, and he continued. We spent up a friendship, and then shortly after, a business partnership. We became partners in Derrick Bell Motorsports, which we had some people who actually been to programs we ran in 1988, and it was a Porsche sanction. It was the first actual Porsche factory sanctioned driving program. It was called the Porsche Precision Driving School with Derrick Bell. We went off. We did 14 different racetracks in 1 year and 3 days in each place, and that was the beginning of a friendship and a partnership, and we've continued on ever since. We've done a lot of things together, and you know, as a favor, I said, hey, I'm going to make you you already have an MBE awarded by the Queen, okay, but I'm going to give you one better. You're going to be the brand ambassador for International GT. How special is that? So I call that on his duties, and that's why he showed up last night.
Yeah, and how cool is that to have such a legend that, like you said, has raced in both Porsche and Ferraris. And unbelievable as we come into 9 of 10 laps here. So much fun to watch. This battle right here, Stephen Hamm and Thomas Pank, it's neat to see because it looks like Tom Pank has an advantage at some places. They come around Mission Foods turn 17, and Stephen has an advantage at other places. And that's kind of the fun of watching these International GT races. You can see the big bumps here as they come around Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 1 to turn 3. So much fun. We've got Alberta, Canada watching right here with Dennis N. And look at those new bleachers. You know, Wayne and his team at Sebring are always adding new features for the fans. And if you haven't been to the 12 Hours of Sebring, mark that in your calendar. Just such a fun event.
But what a great warm-up this is. And I have to thank Perella Holdings and Tony Motorsport, your staff, and Greenlight, and everybody, because this is an amazing, this was the final piece of the puzzle for me as far as marketing and, you know, getting the word out of what the racing has. I mean, we're thrilled and tickled to death that at this level of racing, we're able to broadcast to the world and repeatedly. You know, you can queue it up later on and watch it. That you don't have to be in front of the TV at 7 a.m. to watch that F1 race stuff, you know, on a Sunday, but you can do it at your leisure. And you know, I'm so excited to have this, you know, technology and coverage. You know, it's just wonderful. It's something I honestly couldn't have thought possible even 10 years ago.
We have Josh's World watching from Blaine, Missouri, the stool capital of the world. So Josh, welcome to the broadcast as we look at David Tuati coming around this tower turn. We don't get to often see down on these cars like this, and these Porsche GT3 Cup cars, they just seem to rotate better some of the other cars I see out there.
Well, certainly between the 911s, you know, you have a different chassis setup between 911 base cars and the Caymans, and then you get to a mid-engine Audi, and you see the slight advantage that they have. You know, just the package of being a mid-engine car and the physics gives it an easier car to drive.
And look at the onboards here with Geronimo Guzman, one of the greatest names in racing. These two ARC Racing team members, and we haven't seen the in-car from James Hammond, so I have to apologize. I was the one hooking those up, and I'm sure it's my fault. So I apologize, everybody, and to the Hammond family and TLM that I'm sure I hit a wrong button. And I'm sure I'm being cussed at right now by our directors in the Isle of Man, so I apologize for that, but we're getting some great shots nonetheless.
Well, Ben, you have the chance to redeem yourself because we'll have our second race at 3 o'clock. So you got some hours to figure it out.
I hope so, but I can get things wrong many times in a row.
Oh, yeah, more than once? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well.
And you can see him coming into turn 10. Don't get side by side. That's the leader. Obey those blue flags. Getting some great drone shots. See the new paving around the flagpole there?
Yeah.
Just so many improvements year after year. Uh-oh, and that's Juan Gonzalez Jr. That looks like he looped it there. Looks like a single car incident. And hopefully he can get fired back up.
Facing the wrong direction he is.
And what a great start, Ken.
Yeah, well, don't jinx us, Ben.
Yeah,
but,
sorry.
I'm
commentator's
I'm
curse
always
here.
a bit anxious about just getting underway, and we can say it many times of what we're looking and what the drivers expect, and they all know they're very successful drivers and usually business people and very successful in their profession.
All right, well, here we come up through Mission Foods turn 17. The teammates are now a lot closer due to lap traffic. It looks like Geronimo Guzman's trying to take the outside, possibly. He's got 1/2 more corner. Who can get onto the power faster? Looks like Juan Lopez Santini with ARC Racing is going to take the checkered flag. So we see the checkered flag wave, but if there's a PR team for ARC Racing, they're so happy to get him crossing 1-2 here with International GT. Flashing of the headlights there. Really good friends. They come around Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 1.
Congratulations to them. They were this exact time last year. They bought those cars. They brought them out, and they had a disastrous first start with both cars catching fire, catching light. It took this long to get parts and all the technology involved, and 901 Shop got it done. So congratulations to them.
Steve Hammond over Tom Pank.
Oh wow, look at that.
Last minute pass there. Steve Hammond, our International GT Rookie of the Year, showing one of our veterans some stuff there.
Yeah, the rookie did it. Yeah, and I think he learned that from all his battles with David Twatty. He knows. We saw that from Road Atlanta last year as they went back and forth, and David was pulled it on Steven last year, last lap pass. He said, I'm going to remember how to do that, and he got it done.
Unbelievable. We've got fans watching from Croatia. Somebody's saying they couldn't make it to this race this year, but they're looking forward to Super Sebring. And Super Sebring, always fun. You've got to come to the 12 Hours of Sebring. Super Sebring just coming up in a few weeks. Tickets are still available. Go to the Sebring website. But thank you so much for joining us here on Speed Tour TV at the Sebring Speed Tour. So excited to start the 2023 season. Ken, I know you need to go down and make a celebration at Winter Circle and thank some of the best sponsors in motorsports.
Yeah, we really very fortunate to have Mission Foods and Pirelli as our marketing partners. Our new sponsors who we gave away last night, trip to San Jose, Costa Rica. The Renault Group donating that. Fantastic weekend on that. And Detroit Watch, we were so proud recipients of the last year's championship, won Gulf Le Mans watches. So we've got some great new sponsors.
Great to have them. So there is our standings there in exhibition class, Juan Lopez Santini. And you're fully aware that you're going to have to start making an Audi class because we build that by maybe 3 or 4 more Audis. There's probably going to be an Audi class. So if you've got an Audi R8, join us at International GT. Second place, Geronimo Guzman overall. Then first place, Porsche GT3 Cup, the Mission Foods Porsche GT3 Cup is Stephen Hammond, followed by Tom Pank, followed by David Tuati. Reg Williams, so great to have him back. Dave Neopol, 7th. Juan Fayen, now in a Porsche. Our Maranello Cup champion is switched to Porsche. 8th. Scott Blind from St. Louis is 9th, but I think first in class possibly, in the 4-liter class.
Yep.
And Marcos Vento rounds out our top 10. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. That does it here for International GT, but stay here at Speed Tour TV. We've got a lot of great racing coming up and a huge field of TA2 cars with what I cannot believe I get to say. We've got probably the biggest legend in American motorsports, Richard Petty, our Grand Marshal. He's going to be joining us at that fan walk. So if you're in the area, you need to come out here to the Sebring Speed Tour, get Richard Petty's autograph. We've got almost 400 cars in our Haggerty Cars and Caffeine car show over here, and Richard Petty as the Grand Marshal. Why would you miss it? So make sure you stay tuned here as we go to our commercial break, and you can see great shots there of our grid.